स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ॐ त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव। ओम गुरुदेव भगवान शिव शंकर भोलेनाथ कैलाशपति महाराज की जय, भगवान व्यास जी महाराज की जय, शंकराचार्य भगवान की जय, स्वामी चिन्मयानंद भगवान की जय, स्वामी दयानंद भगवान की जय, स्वामी प्रबुद्धानंद भगवान की जय, माता पिता की जय, सभी गुरुदेवताओं की जय, सभी गुरुदेवताओं की जय। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम श्रीमद् भगवद गीता चैप्टर 3 वर्स नंबर 36। Now Arjuna asks a question. Having said all this, Lord Krishna might have become quiet. Whereupon Arjuna asked a question. Arjuna uvacha अथ केन प्रयुक्त अयं पापं चरति पुरुषः अनिच्छनापि वर्षणीय बलादिव नियोजितः। Arjuna uvacha, Arjuna said or asked, Varshane, O descendant of Varsanis, Krishna, atah, now, anichana api, even though not desiring, I am this Purushaha person, kena, by what, paryuktaha, impelled, balat iva, as though by force, niyojitaha, pushed, papam, sin, charati, commits. Arjuna said, Hey Varshane, Hey Krishna, impelled by what? Impelled by what does a person commit sin? As though pushed by some force, even though not desiring to. Previously it was pointed out that there are likes and dislikes with the reference to every sense object, and you have to do in is not fall under their spell. Tayovasam na agachet. It was also said that even though one's swadharma, what one must do, is not very pleasant, it is better to follow that than to follow something else that is more pleasing and convenient. Hearing all this in terms of karma yoga, Arjuna asked, what it is that impels a person to perform an action that he or she knows is not proper. Some kind of pleasure may be there, but still the person knows that the action is not becoming and will produce sin, dukkha. The person did not know, of course, it would be different and understandable. Why does a person do a karma that he or she knows to be an improper action? खेन परयुक्तः पापम चरति पुरुषः. Impelled by whom? Or what does he or she do this action? Posing this question, Arjuna addressed Krishna here as Varshane, one who is born in the families of Varsanis. Arjuna described such a person as one who is though eva impelled or pushed into performing improper actions by some force. Balatah niyojita. Niyojita implying or devilishing force. Further, the person is pushed into it even though he or she does not want to do it. The person know it is not right, anichena, meaning that he or she does not have the real intellectual value for performing such action, but still it is done. Why? Impelled by whom? Khena paryuktaha. This was Arjuna's question. Duryodhana was once asked, why do you do all this papa karma? You come from a good family and you have been brought up so well. You are a prince. What impels you to do such thing? In a verse attribute to him, Duryodhana responded, I know what is right. Janami, jnanami dharmam. And I also know what is not right. Janami adharma. My problem is not that I have any innocence or confusion with reference to what is right and wrong. The problem is that I know dharma, but I do not pursue it. Janami dharma nacha me paravritte. I know adharma, but I cannot refrain from it. Janami adharma nacha me nivritte. Duryodhana then went on to say, in whichever way I am impelled by the one sitting in my heart, in that way I do. Kenapi devin hridi sthiten yatah niyukto sami tatah karomi. It may have been a person or force, but Duryodhana did not know who or what it was. Thus Duryodhana and Arjuna had the same question. Who or what is it that is sitting in the mind, forcing the person to do what he or she knows to be wrong, even when the person does not want to do it? This is every day's question. Everybody's question. Knowingly what is wrong, we do it. Krishna answers, Shri Bhagavan Uvach, Kama esha krodha esha rajo guna samuddhabhavaha mahashano mahapapam viddheyena mihi vairinam. Shri Bhagavan, Lord Krishna Uvacha said, Iha, this kama, desire, esha, this krodha, anger, rajo guna sambhavaha, born of the guna, rajas, mansanaha, the glutton, mahapapam, a great sinner, iha, here in this world, enam, this varyanam, the enemy. Shri Bhagavan says, the desire, this anger, born of guna, rajas, is the glutton and the greatest sinner. Know that to be the enemy here in this world. In his commentary of this verse, Shankara discusses the six-fold bhaga qualities possessed by one of who is called Bhagavana, total overlordship, Aishwarya, the strength to create, where all fame, vyasa, yashash, all wealth, resource, Shri, all knowledge, omniscience, jnana, and total dispassion, freedom from any sense of want, vairagya. This vairagya is not a sadhana, a means for gaining the knowledge. It is absolute vairagya that comes with complete fullness. Therefore, Bhagavana is the one whom these sixfold qualities always remain in their entirety. Everyone has these qualities in small measure. All have limited jnana and vairagya. Certainly, with reference to garbage, almost everyone has vairagya. Although what is garbage for one may not be for another, in Bhagavana, however, each of the six qualities is without any hindrance or obstruction whatsoever. Shankara goes on to say that Bhagavan is one who knows about the creation and dissolution, utpatti, pralayam, cheva. He also has complete knowledge of good and bad ends of all beings. He also has complete knowledge about the time, type and place of birth and death of all beings. Bhutanam agatim, gatim. Whatever be their lot, pleasure, pain, sukha, dukkha, he knows that too. He also knows knowledge and ignorance of the bhutas. Vitti vidyam, avidyam cha. Here the word avidya also means karma. This is the one who is to be called Bhagavan. Savachyo Bhagavan iti, quotes Shankara. Improper action comes from the desire alone. In this verse, Bhagavana told Arjuna that what impels a person to do an action of papa is but a thought, a vichara. A thought itself is not a person. It depends upon the person. Therefore, it is not a real substantive. But because the Atma is with the thought, a thought assumes a certain force. This thought, Krishna said, is kama, desire. The expression, this desire, eshah kama, indicates that it is something known to everyone. Thus Krishna was telling Arjuna, you can know this desire by looking into yourself. When you ask why a person performs an improper action, do you really think there is some devil or something in there? You are the only devil. There is no other devil. No separate static force sitting with there interfering with Bhagavana's work, clashing. No. There is no second force more powerful than Bhagavan. You are both the devil and the angel here. It is your own desire alone. And the desire is something that is very well known to you. You know what is your desire. You are the only knower. There is nobody else. Only you know what you desire. To say that person performs improper action, even though the desire to do so is not there, simply means that the will does not seem to have force necessary to stop the want. Kama, want, the kama. The want becomes so powerful that your identification with the want becomes so complete that whatever wisdom may be there telling you that what you want is not good for you is silenced. You yourself silence yourself, your good self. In this way, kama can be very powerful. Desire is born out of Rajoguna alone. Rajoguna samudabhava, whereas wisdom is born out of Sattva. When Rajas is predominant, there is desire because Rajas is a force, kama is also forceful. Kama is said to be your enemy. Very an enemy, being one who does what is not good for you. Kama is inimical to you. What it makes you go for things that you do not really want or need, things that you can afford to be without. In this way, it is your enemy. Kama also has another form, Krodha, anger. Krodha is simply another stage of kama. If kama is destroyed in any way, if it is obstructed and not allowed to fulfill itself, then it will turn into anger. If the desire is not fulfilled, you get angry. Arjuna was only too well aware of how this can happen. Born in Indra's grace, Arjuna was considered to be Indra's son. Indra thought he would reward Arjuna, who had been doing tapas in the forest for a long time, by sending the beautiful Urvashi to him. Urvashi was a celestial demoiselle, the most beautiful apsara in heaven. And therefore the dreams of all men, including the men in heaven. When Arjuna told Urvashi that he did not want to have anything to do with her, that he was already married and that he considered her as mother, Urvashi became very angry and put a curse on him that he would lose his masculinity and become an inouch. Lord Indra intervened on behalf of Arjuna and made Urvashi modify the curse, such as Arjuna would become an inouch only for the period of 1 year, and that he would choose the time when the curse would take effect. Later this curse turned out to be a blessing for Arjuna, since it made him eligible to teach dance and music to ladies in the palace during the year he was to remain in incognito. And the beginning of 13th year of exile, Arjuna opted for the curse to take effect and became Brihanala and spent that year teaching dance and music. Arjuna had experienced how desire can turn into anger. When Urvashi's desire for Arjuna was not fulfilled, it became angry. She became angry. A person whose love has been rejected and can even become violent toward the object of his or her love. Rejected love means that kama want is there. It is not like that the love that one has for the stars, the moon, the sky and so on. There one's mind has no demands as to how they should be or should not be. The mind totally accepts these as they are and enjoy them as they are. Therefore, this kind of love does not cause any problem. It is not the case with the kama that is demanding and therefore binding. The binding kama can be called by many names. In the beginning, it is called want, then passion, and then anger. And all are born out of Rajoguna. Kama as Krodha, anger, was referred to here as Mahapapam, a great sinner, because it is the cause of those actions that a person regret for his or her entire lifetime. Such actions have to be paid, for the karma alone is cause. Atma has nothing to do with them, nor do the body, mind and senses. And although your ignorance has something to do with performing improper actions, ignorance itself has nothing to do with it. Who does it? Desire alone. Kama eva does it. There is also a mantra to this effect, chanted by adults and children alike. The mantra is, desire did it, anger did it. Oh Lord, my salutations. Kamo karshit manayo manayurak karshit namo namaha. This mantra is repeated 1008 times on certain days of the year. It is not just a prayer, it carries a message too. It implies that I did not do it. If knowledge is there, there is no problem. Which is why Krishna said, understand Vidhi, that this Kama alone is your enemy. As your enemy, Kama forces you to perform action that you know are improper and that you do not really want to do. Just as Duryodhana said, there is something sitting in my heart impelling me to do wrong actions, but I don't know who the person is. Arjuna also did not know. Here Bhagwana made it very clear that this person is not other than your Kama. Your Kama makes you do the wrong action, impels you to do wrong action. Despite of your knowing that this is a wrong action, you do it because of your desire, Kama. Desire is insatiable. There is one more word given in the verse to describe Kama. Mashana, one who is great glutton. Kama never says enough. Kama is never enough. Again and again it rises. Desires don't end. There is no end to desires. Understand the desire. Of course, its fulfillment may be enough for some time, but eventually Kama will start up again, just like a glutton who barely takes time to swallow the food being eaten before wanting more. This is the nature of want. Any want is always replaced by further wants. There is no end to gluttony of Kama, Krishna said here. To suppose that by continuing to fulfill one's want, there may be a day when none remains is not a reasonable assumption. Like fire, Kama always wants more. It will never say enough. Therefore, there is no possibility of Kama coming to an end. It just goes on breeding. This is why we always have wants. I want. Every second I want. I want X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D. Keeps on continuing. Then again, want. In next verse, Krishna says, verse number 38, Krishna tells how Kama operates. Krishna tells, Dhumena varyate vihena yartha darsho malena cha यथो लबेना व्रतो गर्भस्तथा तेने दमाव्रतम यतः, just as Vahini, the fire, Vahini, vahani. Dhumena, by clouds of smoke. Avaryat is covered. Adarsha, mirror. Malena, by dust. Cha, and. Yataha, just as. Garbha, fetus. Ulbena, by the verb. Avartah, covered. Tataha, so too. Tena, by that. Binding desire. Idam, this knowledge. Avratam, is covered. How this is beautiful it is. Just as the fire is covered by clouds of smoke, just as mirror is covered by dust, and just as fetus is covered by the verb, so too knowledge is covered by desires, bindings, bondages. Knowledge is covered with these kind of bondages. Even though fire is self-revealing, prakashatmak, being effulgent and requiring no light to be seen, still the smoke coming from the fire can cover the fire itself. In the same way, one's discrimination, viveka, knowledge of what is to be done and what is not to be done is covered by kama, which is born out of mind alone. There are two types of vivekas, dharma, adharma viveka, meaning karya, akarya viveka, what is to be done and what is not to be done, and atma, anatma viveka, the ability to discriminate between the real and the unreal. This twofold is required to conduct your life. If you have karya, akarya viveka, then atma, anatma viveka will follow you naturally. These two vivekas constitute knowledge, jnana. The mind, buddhi, that has this knowledge, viveka, jnana, is covered by kama, desires, such as fire can be covered by its own smoke. Like fire, your jnana is also self-revealing. Therefore, it should be able to serve you. But because it is covered, it cannot. Then the kama comes. It takes you over to so completely that your murmuring wisdom is now nowhere to be found. Your viveka is covered with the desires. Vivek buddhi is unable to capture. Krishna provides two other examples here, just as a mirror covered by coat of dust and feet is covered by the verb. The mirror and fetus are not seen simply because they are covered. You can see the mirror, but at the same time it is not clear at all. Similarly, you know an unborn child is there, but you cannot see it because it has yet to see the light of day. So too in the first example, you know fire is there because you see the smoke. You cannot see the fire because it is covered. Simple viveka will dismiss many desires. There is a specific reason why Krishna used three different examples to make this point here. Everyone has certain karma that rob his or her wisdom away, but only for the time being. With a little viveka, a little discretion, you can dismiss them. There are always so many fancies going in your head. But they need not hold you for any length of time. It is like walking through departmental store. You see many things that you would like to buy, but you just walk away without buying any of them. Sometimes you fill the basket and leave the basket. Your home would become a departmental store. Such fancies take hold of you temporarily. But then by some inquiry, vichara, by considering your purse, by seeing whether you need the object or not, whether you really want them or not, you are able to dismiss these fancies. So with reference to certain wants, all you require is short vichara. Other wants, of course, may require a longer vichara. Mere vichara may also not be enough. Some force of will may be necessary to dismiss the desire. Sometimes you have to force yourself. No, I don't need to do this thing. I need to stop this desire. You may have to say no aloud. Most empathetically, if you really want to do a particular thing. For example, when someone asks you to go somewhere and you want to go, but you know you should do something else instead, you may reply with a loud no. In such case, half the no is for the other person and the other half is for yourself. When you say no loudly, the first half is for, you are saying no to him. No, I can't go. The second no is for yourself. You want to stop your desire, that is control. This is why it comes out twice as loud. What this no is all about is well known in India, that if you say it when you are eating, you will be given one more helping of food. Saying no requires will on your part. Vichara itself is not enough. This way of dismissing a desire is likened here to the mirror that is covered with the dust. To merely blow on it is not enough. Not only will the mirror remain dusty, it will become hazy as well. You have to take a wet cloth and wipe the mirror clean. This requires both will and effort. Similarly, not giving in to your desire requires vichara and will. Talking with someone who understands such matter, which requires effort for some action, may also be necessary. For example, of unborn child in the womb is much stronger, in that the time factor kala must also sometime be taken into account with reference to not giving in to one's desire. It may take 9 months for child to be born. Similarly, it may take time to understand your desire and gain certain mastery over them. When time is required and you try to circumvent it, the whole effort will be aborted. Therefore, you need to abide your time. The covering illustrated in this verse is binding desire and its modifications. Hari Om Tat Sat. Verse number 39, we'll see tomorrow, which says discriminative knowledge, Viveka, is covered by unstable Kama. This we'll see tomorrow. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudashyati Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyati. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.